Hello, back on to Roland's Rat, the GT6 powered Spitfire, and the brake calipers. I haven't done anything with these yet, and they're filthy, very rusty. Pistons are seized in, obviously. First thing I'm going to do though, before I attack trying to get the pistons out, is I'm going to clean these up as best I can at the bench using drill and a selection of wire wheels. Anyway, let's see how we get on. I'm going to give them a go with the brush and put my goggles on first. It certainly is not the quickest way of doing it. An irregular shaped object like a brake caliper, but you can get it to 70–80% fairly easily. I don't know how long that took me, maybe 15 minutes compared to the other one, which I still have to do. I might charge my drill up before I get onto it. Well, the next stage will be getting the pistons out, which I think I'll do tomorrow after I've cleaned this one. So here we are for day 2 of cleaning calipers. This time I brought my proper drill, which will hopefully make shorter work of the whole job. And I've also got safety gloves, glasses and a dust mask, and I'll put a sheet up to catch all the debris that gets flung off everywhere. So let's see how we get on. The results, I think, show that mains power on the left is superior to battery power. It's not bad, the battery drill one is not bad, but it's clearly not as clean as the one with the power drill. Brake calipers day 3, and we are set up to try and eject the seized pistons from the first caliper. As you see, I've got it on the workbench next to the car, and I've got my rebuilt master cylinder with a new copper line, which was just a spare that I had from a set, and going to a flexible hose, a new flexible hose, which is going to go on the car into the caliper. Now, I was foolishly, very foolishly, trying to make up a new line, a new solid brake line, to go from the master cylinder down to the 3-way junction to feed the actual flexible lines attached to the suspension, attached to the car, when my neighbour and friend Miles pointed out that that was completely unnecessary. I could just run a single hose to a caliper on a bench. It'd be much easier. What a good idea. So that's what I've done. So the first thing I'm going to do is top up the master cylinder with fluid, fill up the master cylinder with fluid, bleed the air out of the line. Once I've got mostly brake fluid in there, then I will try pumping the foot brake and see if the calipers move, if the pistons move in the calipers. Let's see what happens. No air bubbles, what's going on? What's going on? Master cylinder not doing anything. So much for my rebuild. Aha. There we go. Bubbles is good. I wonder if it was not working because I had the lid on and it was not breathing properly, creating an airlock. Don't know, maybe it was just one of them things. I'm going to go and step on the brake now, the brake pedal, and see what happens. there's a good chance that I'll just get fluid leaking out of one of the joints in my pipework. I'm hoping that one of the pistons will move, break the seal of seizure in the caliper, and that will push the pads. So hopefully you'll be able to see the pads moving. The reason I've left the pads in is because I don't want one piston to pop out and the other one remain stuck. I don't want either of them. I don't want them to come out all the way, the pistons. There we go. Just like that. Something moved, didn't it? Which one was it? Let's give it another go. Yeah. So the one nearest to me is moving. Good. It's broken the seal. Excellent. Now, I've got to come up with some ingenious way of holding this pad in place, holding it still, and then forcing the other piston to move. I'm going to have to go and see what I can find in the garage now. Now the caliper's on its side, and I have adjusted or adapted my trusty suspension spring compressor using a bit of copper bar with the holes and drilled in the right place. So the copper bar is going to hold the upper piston, which is the one that's no longer seized. It's going to, no, hang on a minute, it's going to hold the lower piston rather in position. Squash it in maybe slightly, just hold it in place. And then I'm going to pump the brake, and hopefully this piston which is stuck in here will then free off, and then I can work out how I'm going to get them both out. It shouldn't be, once they're freed off, it shouldn't be too difficult. Anyway. I did put some oil on these, by the way. Right. There goes nothing. Let's move. So we're looking now for the top piston to move. Huh. There we go. There we go. So that one is, the top one is moving more freely. Let's get it a bit further. I don't want it to come out. I'm going to clamp it back in place and then try and eject. It's a bit repetitive, this game. So I've taken the pads out, so now the piston's got more room to move. I'm hoping I can get the slightly stickier piston, which is the top one, to move a bit further, and then it's just going to be a matter of, well, how do you get them out the last bit? I don't know, we'll see. There we go. The seal is broken. Good. So next thing is I'm going to have to disconnect the hydraulic line, go and put this on the workbench, the proper workbench, and see if I can persuade the pistons to fully come out. There we are then, 2 liberated pistons from the first caliper, and you can see, look at the rust on that beauty. Now what is the inside of the caliper like? Let's see if we can show it. It's still full of fluid. It's very rusty. I don't know. I mean, yeah, it's very rusty. Essentially, unsurprisingly, I'm gonna, I don't know, give it a bit of a clean. Anyway, the pistons are out, so that's great news. See if we can get these rubbers off completely. It's interesting how very well fused the rubbers are. I mean, the bores look all right. I mean, there's a little bit of rust in there, but actually that'll polish up, that'll clean up, I reckon. Getting the inner seal out is a bit awkward. Getting it in is quite awkward. There we go. So that's obviously the bit that seals around the caliper, around the piston, sorry, to keep the hydraulic fluid behind the piston and not squirting out. And obviously the seal, I mean, I've never known them to leak around there. Maybe they do, maybe they do. But this is pretty typical. Any cars that have been stood for a while, they always, or very, very commonly, develop this rusty ring around the piston. Anyway, I mean, a lot of this PowerTune brand, some of the stuff they sell is absolute rubbish. But I bought the pistons before, brake pistons, and they've been fine. That's life, you know, of the classic car owner. The customer is the quality control. Let's give it a pump on the old brake. That's the accelerator pedal. This is the brake pedal. There goes one. It's the one nearest the jar. Okay. Now we're going to repeat the thing with the clamp, holding this in position so the other piston can free off. Then it's back to the bench to prise them out like we did for the other caliper. Clamp that in position. There we go. This one moved. Yeah. I know what you're thinking. Why don't you use shorter bolts, you idiot? Well, didn't want to. I mean, I don't want to cut them because they're the right length for a spring, for a suspension spring. There we go. Top piston should move a bit far away. Go on, boy. Oh, it's stuck. It's sticky. There we go. There we go. More? That'll do. That'll do. That last piston was a real pig, a real pig to remove, but we got it in the end. It was most reluctant to come out. You can maybe see there's a little ring around the top, a little ridge, a lip rather, which is where I was sticking my screwdriver and levering, but whether you can see that or not, but the lip in the particular exact place where the screwdriver will go in got bent out of shape. So anyway, this was a pain to get out, but a little bit of persuasion and it did. I just remembered that I've got, I'm not very good at throwing things away, even scrap. So this is a piston from one of my Spitfire or possibly front wheel drive saloon calipers, smaller calipers. So this is a Type 16 for the 6-cylinder cars. So this was used in the GT6 and the Vitesse. Don't know what else. The Spitfire, are they Type 14? I think they are. So smaller pistons. You can see the difference there. But this was changed because one side was a bit sticky, so pistons weren't moving freely, and this was a bit rusty, I thought, but it is absolutely nothing compared to these beauties. So this is yeah, the worst condition I've seen, because it's going to be quite difficult to clean out the lip or the ring where the lip for the rubber seal has to sit, which was the bit that was sort of fused in place. I think a bit of boring elbow grease, screwdriver, cotton buds, etc. we can probably get it reasonable. And that's the first phase of the brake rebuild finished, the dismantling part. I'm going to buy some high temperature caliper paint, black. I'm not one for brightly coloured brake calipers. And what else do I need to get? I don't know, I'll have a think about that. Try and clean the inside of these. I'm going to have to give them a really good flush through the hydraulic ways to make sure. I mean, there is rust inside the caliper now, so that needs to be flushed out. Anyway, we've done well. Not bad. See you soon.